Hello, everyone. We are behind the mic once again, although, as you notice, Mike Joseph not with us today. John Leone sitting in, and I certainly thank him for doing that. Mike with a job responsibility. He will be here on Saturday, so will we. We want you to tune in 12:30 when the Lafayette Leopards take on the Fordham Rams. Before we get into looking at the ball game, certainly the crew that works the Lafayette games, our entire hearts and sympathies go out to the family of Kente Edwards, as Kente's dad passed away on Saturday. Kente, as you noticed, did leave the ball game a little bit early for that reason, and certainly we have great sympathy for him, as does the entire football team. Kind of a pall has fallen over the team for a few days, but rightfully so. We wish the family the very, very best. And again, I want to thank Will Newsheidel for his help in getting ready for today's ball game. All right, John, we have to look ahead a little bit, but let's take a little bit of a look at the Patriot League before we get into that. Fordham does beat Holy Cross. We're going to talk about Fordham today. They beat them 26-21. That, to me, came as a little bit of a surprise, but certainly a big win for head coach Joe Conlon and his team.
Yeah, it was, Gary. I had a chance to see good portions of that game, and the thing that has to be of concern to Coach Troxel and the Leopards is Fordham comes in at 1-1, but that's an emotional win for Fordham. They're at home. It's a rivalry game. That rivalry has its own cup, the Fordham Holy Cross Cup. And ironically, it was Fordham's defense, a defense that had been giving up 45 points a game, that secured the win for them. Now, granted, there were two 0-4 teams coming in, but again, Fordham was very emotional after that game. And if Joe Conlon, who's been around the block a few times, he's a good coach. He's done a good job at Fordham. If his team needed a spark, they may well have found it last Saturday.
Yeah, interesting contrast to the Princeton game, where Princeton lost the game they should have won. They came in with the mindset of being angry, and they wanted to really win a football game and played well against Lafayette. Here's kind of just the opposite. They had been 0-4 before this ball game, had Fordham. They win a big Patriot League ball game. They already had a loss against Colgate, and we all know you get two losses in the Patriot League, it kind of takes away the season. So they're now at 1-1, and they're going to come in trying to go 2-1 and keep championships aspirations there. Lehigh wins again. They're now 5-0. Georgetown lost to Morgan State. Well, I'm sorry. Lehigh wins over Penn, 44-30. Georgetown loses to Columbia. Richmond over Howard. That was an interesting ball game, 13-12. They won the ball game towards the very end. Bucknell over St. Francis, and Princeton obviously beat Lafayette. So Lehigh at 5-0, 2-0 in the league. Lafayette sits right now in second place at 1-0. So huge ball game. It's a Patriot League game. These are the games we have to win.
There's no question about it. And before the game, having a chance to talk to John Troxel, we were curious, as are a lot of the Lafayette faithful. We didn't really know what this team was going to look like at the beginning. I think we were all pleasantly surprised by the defense. We knew that Dean DeNoble, quality quarterback, had great receivers. Kente Edwards explodes onto the scene and just takes over the running game. So there are very, very bright spots. But in talking to John was very measured, and for good reason, because he knew that Lafayette had made mistakes in certain games leading up to this one, that had those mistakes been made against a more quality opponent, a championship team, they probably don't win those games, and I think that scenario played out against Princeton.
Yeah, no question about it, as the pick six obviously was huge for Princeton, and then the fumble that led to another Princeton touchdown. A couple of turnovers leads to two touchdowns, and Princeton ends up winning the ball game 38-28. Looking at Fordham, at quarterback, they've got a young man named Gunnar Smith. He's 6'5", 210 pounds. He's a junior. We didn't expect him to be their quarterback to start the season, but he's already thrown for over 1,100 yards, 55% completions. He has thrown 5 interceptions, but he has 8 touchdowns. He does carry the football. He's done it 53 times. He's got 3 touchdowns, but he's been sacked 17 times. And his road to get to Fordham has been somewhat interesting. Started at South Florida. This is the age we're in. Then he goes to Central Florida. And last year he played at Highland Community College in Kansas. Don't ask me why, because I don't know. But he is right now. Gunnar Smith's looking pretty good, and the quarterback we thought would be back, Jack Capaldi, who kind of had a similar route as he was all over the country before he ends up at Fordham. Capaldi has not really played.
Yeah, he hasn't, and his numbers were absolutely off the charts. I mean, 26 touchdowns, 1 interception, and of course the turnover bug has been the issue for Gunnar Smith. Now, we talk about football, we talk about complementary football. That can't be all on the quarterback. I saw him, his first pass of the game was really impressive, 6'5", tall in the pocket, throws a laser to his wideout for a score. So this young man has the tools. However, I think an overused term and maybe misunderstood term in football is complementary football. And if you're sacked 17 times and you're turning the ball over, it's tough to stand in there and make passes. And so all of these pieces are connected. Sometimes it's field position, sometimes it's turnovers, capitalizing on turnovers, or shooting yourselves in the foot after a turnover. Those are all parts of complementary football, and I think that's a big reason why perhaps the defensive stats could be a little misleading. Not sure. We haven't seen enough of Fordham to know. But you got to be careful against this team because, again, they've got some talent in certain spots, and their defense took a shot in the arm. I think their defense is playing with a little bit more of a hop in their step after the win over Holy Cross.
And they eliminated some of those problems, and that's why they beat Holy Cross. Their running back is Ricky Parks. He's averaging 4 yards per carry. He got a touchdown in the last ball game. That was his first of his career. They don't have Julius Lothridge anymore. He was around. He was a 1,000-yard rusher. He is gone. Their wide receiver, Jack Freeberg, but 13 guys have caught passes, so it's not like he can focus on just one. Freeberg with 8 catches, a couple of TDs, and Noden Tracy, 6 foot, 195, a junior. So the concentration level probably will be on Ricky Parks, but they throw the ball a lot.
They do, Gary, but you can't really overstate the importance of having a go-to guy because he's going to rotate the defense. You're going to have to pay attention to him, and sometimes that gives opportunities to some of the other players. They interviewed the young fellow, the receiver, who actually stepped up this year, and he immediately gave kudos to the guy who got hurt before him. So my point is, Coach Collin has been beset by graduation and by injuries. And sometimes, especially in a non-league schedule, it takes time to overcome those things. It's Patriot League time. They're 1-1. And some of these kids are starting to step up. And you wonder if maybe they're beginning to put the plan together because they had to readjust with the injury issue and, of course, the graduations.
Well, if you want to try to overcome something in this football game, try to overcome James Conway, their middle linebacker. He had 19 tackles against Holy Cross. He now has over 500 tackles in his career. He's the 5th FCS player to ever do that. James Conway, 6'2", 235 pounds. He is a graduate. He got hurt last year. He played, I believe, around 4 games. Already, John, 5 games, he's got 75 tackles.
He's like a heat-seeking missile. I mean, if you want to know where the football is, go find Conley. He is a guy that you've got to take care of. You have to account for him defensively. The thing that befuddles me is this, again, we talked about this team giving up 45 points a game. Somebody's tackling somebody, and he's got most of them. It must be nobody else is tackling anybody. He's got a bunch of them.
Yeah, you make a great point. I mean, I think if you get him out of the mix in terms of making a tackle, you maybe have a pretty good chance of having a plus offensive play. Their other linebacker, Andrew Osmond's pretty good, too. He's got 44 tackles already, a couple tackles for a loss, a sack, an interception, and he had 10 tackles in the last ball game, too, against Holy Cross. Strong safety is good. Drew Minnick, 26 tackles, a tackle for a loss. The team, I think a lot of it's going to center around, like you mentioned early on, their emotions. They're going to be sky high for this ball game, and we have to do what I thought we needed to do against Princeton: score early and take a little bit of their buzz out of the picture.
There's no question about it. You're at home. There's going to be a good crowd. It's first Patriot League game, and you must take care of the football, number one, and you want the crowd into it on your side. You don't. Again, we talked about Fordham and the potential momentum that they created with their win against Holy Cross. You want to kind of nip that in the bud right away. The other thing, Gary, that is misleading, you talked about their defense, and for good reason. I said, how can you talk about Fordham's defense? They're giving up all these points. Well, you factor in 17 sacks and the interceptions. How many short fields were there, really? So you don't want to fall into that trap of thinking that you're going to, roll the ball out there and put up 45 points against this team.
And our defensive numbers are skewed a little bit too, because we have also turned the ball over, and some of those turnovers have led to touchdowns. Good example, the pick six. We had the play down on the 2-yard line a couple games ago that turned into a 98-yard return on a fumble. So we've had 5 fumbles that we've lost. We've had 3 interceptions, and they've turned into a whole bunch of points against Princeton. 3 turnovers turned into 21 points. So that gets kind of charged to the defense. They're not even out on the field, to be honest. Dean DeNoble, he looks very solid. It's not quite the passing game we thought we would have yet, but I think it's there, and this may be the game to show it.
Well, it certainly, depending on how Kente is feeling and can he get himself back in the flow, we certainly understand if he's down a little bit. Ethan Weber did a nice job last week, so I think one of the reasons why Dean's been efficient. There's been nothing wrong with Dean's game at all, but again, when you can hand the ball off to a kid like Kente Edwards, why not? And so, but I am encouraged by how Dean is spreading the ball around. It's good to see Eli Stewart back in the back in the mix, and then of course Mason Keener on the sideline. Is the thing about this team I think John really likes is the toughness. You recall 2 games ago, Dean tweaked his ankle. He came to the sideline, and the red flags went up. Dean literally ran away from the trainers. He's running away from them. He wants no part of coming out of any football game if he can help it. And I think the wide receivers play that way. We've had a chance to talk personally with Kente Edwards. You can tell a lot about a kid's personality by watching them play. And these kids are tough, they're focused, and I can understand why John Troxel is enjoying coaching this team.
Yeah, we do Behind the Mic on a Tuesday morning. At this moment, at least, we know Kente is coming back to campus today. And what's going to be his status for the game, we do not know. But as we mentioned, that's entirely Kente's decision, as John Troxel told me. Darson Gente, 9 tackles. Dante Jackson, 8 tackles in the ball game against Princeton. Our defense is becoming a very good, solid 11.
They really are, and they feed off of each other. We've got a terrific transfer that I know you talked about from Penn State. D is really a heck of a player. And, Gary, while his name may not show up in the statistics a lot, again, he's a guy you have to account for, and that gives other guys chances to make plays. It really is. You'd love, as a coach, there's nothing better than the sum being greater than the parts. So I think this is the kind of team that has that. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts, and you've got guys giving of themselves to make that whole better.
Yeah, no question about it. And I think one of the keys here will be can the defense put pressure on Gunnar Smith? As we mentioned, he has already thrown 5 interceptions and been sacked 17 times. So get to him, maybe you win the ball game. So that's our look. You can always go inside the huddle with Mike Joseph. That will be up this week too, as Mike takes another look at what Lafayette can do to get better and win football games. 12:30 start will be Behind the Mic. So we're so happy you joined us for this preview. For John, I'm Gary. See you next time.